back to TV5 News at 9, and it's time now for Aging in Style with American Retirement Advisors. Joining us now is President and owner Joe Vitale. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to get your great advice. We love it. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Colette. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Okay, viewers, grab a pen and paper. Today we are talking about one of my favorite things to do, holiday shopping. We're also digging into inflation and end-of-the-year planning. So, Joe, does inflation really play that much of a role when it comes to holiday shopping?
You know, yeah, and it's funny. It's funny we're talking about this right now. It's crazy to believe that, yeah, we're at the end of summer, kids are back to school. Yeah. We're already seeing the Christmas supplies and gifts and everything coming into the stores right now. So, yeah, it's right among us right now. And I think we're going to, it's one of the things that, we don't want to, oh, my goodness, Joe, slow down. We're still in the summertime right now. But, we're seeing this happening, and what are some plans and strategies? Because we're starting to see things go up in price a little bit. We are seeing some inflation that's going to be here for a while. Some of it's passing. But you can't help but when you look at the gas pumps, what are we going to do? That's going up. And, you're paying more for coffee. You're paying more for goods and services, and there's delays in the supply chain. So what do we do? Well, some of it, yes. People say, I'm just going to go online. I'm just going to go get gift cards,
Right.
And I think a good strategy, too, is to do some of that. But also, let's talk about the wonderful importance of homemade gifts, right? Or things that come from the heart. But even if you do strategizing just a little bit at a time, don't wait till last minute. Don't be running all around. But even just taking time, especially there's been a lot of stimulus out there. So there's still kind of a lot of money out there. And so people are not really seeing the full impact of what's going to happen. But when that stops, we're going to see that. So, but the biggest thing, don't get all caught up in a lot of the hoopla where you have to have it. Just take time, step back a little bit at a time, and I think it's going to be fine.
Joe, I love your ideas. You don't always have to spend a lot of money for gifts. Those from the heart really mean a lot to people. That's a great idea. I love that. So, Joe, we are heading into the fourth quarter of 2021, and are there any things that we really need to take action on now before December 31st?
There's a lot of things we want to look at. Definitely look at funding. If you're not all the way up, if there is extra money you haven't funded your 401k or IRA, definitely take care of those contributions. If you are fully funded in your 401k and you still can do more in your Roth IRA for 2021, take advantage of that. We are going to see taxes go up down the road. We know the latest will be 2026, but we're already seeing a lot of stuff happening right now. We're going to probably see an increase. So look at some tax strategies. We're talking with a lot of our clients and encouraging them to get with their CPAs and talking with them together with their accountants to make sure we're doing some tax strategies for year end. So really, really important to start having those conversations because it's going to be here before you know it.
Okay, I hope you are making a list because Joe is keeping us on track today for what we need to do before the end of the year. Okay, so Joe, many retirees are getting their required IRA distributions pretty soon. Should they take more or just the minimum like they usually do?
Well, absolutely. A lot of our clients, a lot of other families have their required minimum distributions on autopilot for, I see all the time, November, December, so that check comes every year like clockwork. And everybody says don't take any more than that because, of course, you're going to pay tax on it. Very true, but guess what? We're in a very low tax bracket right now, and a lot of people have never taken more than their required minimum distributions. And with taxes going up, that means more and more you're going to pay in taxes. So depending on their tax bracket, we're looking at Roth strategies. We're looking at taking more out of it. Taking more out of the IRAs and paying tax in a lower tax bracket. That's a very good strategy to look at right now. Another thing to look at is when you're looking at taxes is don't forget the charitable contributions. You give, a lot of people are saying, Joe, I really don't need this IRA distribution. Most people do kind of like it and need it to live on. But those who really don't, there's great strategies to have that go directly to charity and you don't have to pay tax on that. So great strategies out there right now, definitely worth a second look and seeing if it makes sense for you.
Let's dig into that a little bit more, Joe. So tell us about a Roth strategy and why it is so important.
Roths are great. They're going to be, you're not going to get the tax write-off for a Roth right now, but down the road it's all tax-free after 5 years. It's similar, it's a Roth IRA, right? So it's just like the IRA you're going to have. You can't touch it until 59 and a half generally, but it's tax-free. free as long as you don't touch it for 5 years. So looking at either Roth conversion strategies or funding a Roth, making sure, again, we're talked about taking advantage of the low tax bracket that we're in right now, a lot of us, depending on where our income lies for the year. We want to look at optimizing these tax brackets and converting as much as possible from a traditional IRA or a 401k or a 403 or TSA to a Roth. Reason is that money's going to be all tax-free. And a lot of people, I think we've talked about this before, where you have these IRAs and they're not touching them, they're just growing. It becomes a ticking time bomb where you're going to see a huge tax hit when those IRAs keep growing. We like to say you're going to pay on the seed and not the crop, right? Not the harvest.
Yeah.
Because if you pay a little bit now, you're going to save a lot down the road. And we have calculators for all that, of course, and that's definitely something that if it resonates with somebody, give us a call. We'll help you through that and see if it makes sense, because we've seen a lot of different strategies down the road and how it can really help you grow your portfolio, but also save money on taxes.
And Joe, we are always looking for ways to save money. So can we avoid paying taxes on an IRA conversion?
Yeah, really not. That's one of the things. Is really no good way to avoid paying taxes, with the exception of course, if we talked about giving it to charity, having it directly go into charity, not touching your pocket, there's no tax on it. But on the conversion itself, there's really no good way to avoid that, with the exception, of course, is of paying it on a very low tax bracket. And that's kind of what we like to do, is look at what the tax brackets are and either go right up as much as we possibly can without going over. So this way we're converting it at the lowest possible tax bracket and really down the road saving a lot of money with that.
We love it. Don't forget, ask Joe. Joe knows. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate all of your valuable info today. Thank you, and your tips.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we love having you here. If you want any more information, head on over to the Aging and Style page. That's at WNEM.com.